because it's Gemini season, I thought this video would be the perfect way to bring some insight and intention into our inner twins. Okay, so Geminis, what people don't realize is they talk about Geminis in this split personality, weird type of crazy, disrespectful way because they have two sides to them. In reality, we all have two sides to us. We all have multiple voices that play out within this beautiful, complex human body, you know? But the beauty of Geminis is that when they are in their higher octave or when they are in their higher nature and higher selves, they are able to see themselves like mirroring those two sides of them, those twins. You know, if you think about external twins, you see yourself, right? Because you're looking, especially identical twins, you're looking exactly at yourself. Well, spiritually and esoterically, Gemini has that ability to do that within themselves. They're able to see themselves, right? They're able to call themselves out. They are hyper aware of the duality within themselves. And we all have Gemini in our chart somewhere. We all have the ability to do that, but some of us are more willing to do that than others. Some of us are a little bit more clear. Is the word? I don't know the word I'm looking for. Anyway, that was a long pause, being weird. Anyway, but and like I shared in my craft with me video, Gemini is on my 8th house of self transformation. So for me, this is comes kind of easy per se. I just have more access to that part of me, and plus I'm a Virgo, so we're able to get to the details of things and able to call ourselves out in ways. So I have both of those things going for me. So I felt like this would be the perfect time to share the ways that I sabotage myself because it literally is important to know the ways in which you sabotage yourself so that you can get yourself unstuck and know when it's coming up and be hyper aware of when it comes up, whatever those things are, so that you can push through them and really get out of your own way. So here we are. I hope that you guys enjoy this video. And if you don't, who cares? Just kidding. um, let's get into the video. Hey, 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 wild seeds. How are you feeling this week? We're up close and personal because I mean business. We're talking about the 50 million thousand ways that I self-sabotage that you might can identify with. So let's just jump right into it. We may ask ourselves, why do we do this to ourselves? Why, when we get to a place where we're feeling good and like we're about to take this big leap into this new thing, or we're about to receive some goodness that we've been waiting for, asking for, praying for, and then we become our biggest enemy, our own worst nightmare. Like, why do we do that to ourselves? And for me, I feel like personally that these things once served as a protective mechanism for us. When in survival mode, these mindsets and ways of being kept us safe. Now, there's tons of information out there about fear and how us as a human collective have adapted to survival and how we're bringing those old hunter-gatherer ways into the now, because the stress is showing up in more subtle ways. But how we're wired as humans is to handle stress and fear in this fight or flight way, this to run away from the big bad scary bear in the woods to survive, or to fight the oncoming attacker or predator in order to survive. Like, we do these things in order to survive. But now the big bad bear and the predators are showing up as walking across the street and a fast car is coming. Your coworker who is passive aggressive and throws subliminals at you, a relationship that is not the best for you to be in because you're being gaslighted all the time, having to make a choice about something on the lighter side. There's so many, preparing for a baby, which can be a joyous event, but it shows up as stress in our body because it's something new, something foreign. So something that is out of the comfort zone, our body and brain registers as some sort of threat, no matter if it is a good overall experience that we consciously know, but subconsciously, we have a whole system and mechanism in place, which is a good thing, right? Because it helps us to survive. But when we allow that subconscious programming to run the show, then we have a whole cascade of other things that play out. So as a creative woman, and a wildly creative woman at that, there has been many ways that I have sabotaged myself from taking the next step forward, or seeing what I needed to see clearly, or preventing myself from moving into the next phase that I needed to move in order to accomplish the goal that I had set for myself. Because what happens when I no longer have the story to support my irrational, delusional excuses for accomplishing that goal? What do I have left? I have no excuses. All I have is my power and my accountability, right? I see it as a way of us not wanting to be accountable for whatever happens. Well, let me speak for myself because that may not apply to everybody. But for me, what I discovered when I did some dig deep in and getting real honest with myself is that means that I'm accountable for everything. And I am forced to take creative accountability for the things that happened or did not happen, and co-creative accountability at that, because we're co-creating with so many different things at one time. And so me not pulling my weight in this co-creation collaborative effort means that I have failed. And who wants to admit that, right? Not literally failing, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I did not rise to the occasion. That's basically what I'm saying. So I self-sabotage so that there was some sort of excuse to have, it's really delusional shit. It's crazy when you actually think about it. It's ridiculous. But if we're in this new timeline where we're calling ourselves out and taking accountability and responsibility for everything and being authentic, because authenticity is not just about expressing your truth in this outwardly way or being yourself, but it is also seeing yourself and having the courage to call yourself out. Okay, so now I'm going on a whole other tangent. Let me get to this list. So I have my handy dandy list. That looks like a lot, huh? Because it is. And we just gonna get into it, okay? So, the number one thing on my list is food, emotional eating. For me, this is a huge self-sabotaging pattern because, for one, I'm a holistic health coach, nutrition focused at that. So, I've had this long story and journey around food since childhood. And so, food is, and diet and all of that, body image and all of that is a huge part of my story. So, eating styles and patterns and all of that are not new to me. So, I guess I'm saying I have the knowledge base and the wisdom, right, to know about eating foods that are not good for my body, that are toxic, that my body doesn't like, and how to listen to my body, all of that. So in times of stress, depression, etc., I will default back to choosing food that is comforting to me, which is sugar, sweets. Like, I will not eat anything all day, but will grab some ice cream, vegan and plant-based, of course, but still sugar and processed. So ice cream, and we'll just go to town on that and eat nothing else. And then I will get more depressed because I know that this is a past. I'm hyper aware, so I know that this is a past eating pattern, which makes me feel more or guilt. And then I start talking bad and crazy to myself. Then the food itself lowers my energy because it's just sugar. And then it either impacts my ability to go exercise because I have low energy or just not in the mood, or I will sleep in late because my energy is low, or my mood and attitude be messed up, so I'm not clear and able to really channel or receive messages or whatnot that I need to receive at certain points in time because I done blocked myself because of the food, and it interferes with my whole process. And then it becomes this weird cycle where I'm just eating because I feel guilty, and so I'm going to eat some more junk food. Just this weird, crazy loop until I choose to slap myself out of it and be like, girl, get yourself together. It's basically till I get fed up with myself. But in that time, I done lost all this time that I could have been focusing on whatever the goal was that I was trying to accomplish. I just set myself back about 5 days because I started to live in my mind about the decision that I made, knowing that I've done this plenty of freaking times. So, food, it's wild. Number 2 is not trusting others due to past deceit. So, my ass is literally living in the past or the future. I mean, I've gotten a lot better over the last couple of years with this, and being more present and being intentionally present. But the past and the future is my jam. Like, that is where I default to. I am comfortable in the past. Now, where it gets toxic is, for the past, I am usually playing out old storylines in my mind all the time. Like, if I sit and be quiet, like, there's these old storylines that I'm like running in my mind, running. And no wonder why I'm crazy. But where it really shows up is in new connections and relationships. And it's weird because I am a person, I love to meet new people. I love connecting with people and all of the things, but let one little thing be off and I'm defaulting to the past, right? I'm defaulting like, this is showing up in this way. So it's kind of like a trigger. So I'm like, is this person like that person that did that to me in the past. And so then I start to create space and pull away and sabotage the connection. A connection that could have been a really genuine connection, but because my delusional crazy ass was living in the past, I applied a past timeline to this present, potentially vainglorious, beautiful connection, and I sabotage it just due to lack of trust. So that is something that I've really had to work on and work through, and really come to the knowing and trusting that I am in a new era of my life, and the people coming in are genuine and really want to support me, because the thing is that as within, so without. So the reason why I attracted those people in the past, because I wasn't right, because I was not in alignment with my heart, mind, body, and soul back then, and was had to do some deep shadow work, right? So you're going to attract what you are. You attract what you are, you attract who you are, and your deepest desires. And at that point in time, it was a whole other thing going on. So now, fast forwarding to now, I am in a much more aligned state with myself and authentic to and true to who I am. My compassion level is different. Forgiveness level is different. Everything hitting different. So I'm going to attract those type of people to me and in my life. I had stopped myself and checked myself, called myself out, like, girl, you bringing the old you to the new you. This is not the same. This is a different. We're in a new earth right now. We're in a new timeline. So trust that what you are receiving, you are deserving of, and it is meant for you. So, yeah. Number 3 is procrastination, baby. Oh my gosh. When I say that was one of the biggest demons that was living up within me, child, procrastination, yeah. And I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate to the procrastination game. Like, yeah, it was to the point I used to do like full-on essays a couple hours before they were due. Oh my gosh. And what I learned about procrastination, if you're doing that more times than none, and you procrastinating that bad, then that means you don't really want to do it. Well, I don't know if that's true for everybody, but for me, that is true. Like, if I'm holding off on something like that and really like just bumming around to it and just feeling like this huge resistance to it, then that means that that's not something for me, that I really don't want to do it. My intentions were there. Maybe it been interesting to me at the time or whatever, but that's not something that I really want to do. And when I think about that, like with the essay thing in school, and the way that style of school is not for me. Like, I'm an experiential learner. Sitting in classrooms and things like that is fun for me. I mean, why'd I say it's fun, child? Sitting in the classroom is actually fun for me, but the style of learning, like writing essays and all of that stuff, is just not it for me. So, at that time, in high school, whatever, you don't have a choice in per se with that. But like college, things like that, and still trying to repeat those same learning styles, that's why I didn't graduate. Because do you guys know how many times I tried to finish school and I went back to school and just never, no. But certifications and short programs and things like that really work for me, because I like to learn the thing, get straight to the point, cut all out the fluff and all the extra stuff, and get straight to the focus, the intention. And so that's why, like, anyway, back to what we talk about, procrastination. So anyway, But let's say it's procrastinating to go do some chores or something like that that gotta be done. That's, well, you can still apply that to, if you have the means to do so. If that's something that you don't like to do, then maybe you need to hire somebody to do it. Maybe that's not what's bringing you joy or fueling you, and that can be delegated to somebody else. You can find another way to get it done. Okay, I'm rambling. Or I'm procrastinating because there is fear there and I'm sabotaging the opportunity. So there is an excuse on why I couldn't do the thing, you know? It's wild. Number 4 is not preparing. This is not preparing for workshops that I need to teach, not preparing food that I need to eat, all of the ways in which to prepare. There is this thing that I do when I need to, it kind of coincides with procrastinating. It's like I'll have a goal and it'll be like weeks out. I'm like, oh, I got time to do it. Like I got time to get ready, and I plan out all the things that I'm going to do and all of that in my mind, but not actually take the actions to do it until the last minute. And by that time, things then came up. Stuff is not in order or whatever, and I am not prepared. I am doing something at the last minute, and the quality of it is not too up to par because I done waited to the last minute, and then there goes a reason to criticize myself or to talk crazy to myself and all of that, and then that leads to a cascade of BS. Just crazy. I'll be done with myself. And that segues into number 5, perfectionism. Like, girl, how you gonna be a perfectionist, but then you're not expecting perfection from yourself? It's wild. Like, I don't understand. I be talking so much stuff to myself because it's crazy. So you expecting perfectionism, but you're not setting yourself up for perfectionism. I just don't know, y'all. I don't know. But I guess here I'm saying holding myself back until things are up to par, but then they never are. Then I end up being self-critical. So I guess in this other way, my perfectionism shows up is I'm waiting for things to be right. I'm waiting to, like, for instance, on YouTube, I didn't record videos or anything because I had to have this certain sort of camera, this sort of lighting, this sort of environment or atmosphere. So I prolong it instead of just taking the action and doing things imperfectly. That goes into me caring about too much of what other people thinking about me. Girl, you need to be caring about what you think about yourself. And that's what I've had to say. Like, you worried about the wrong things. Who cares? Like, if you have a goal, you want to get something done, you trying to create out here, then create. Just do it. Like, why? And this is something that I would say to, like, my clients or somebody who came to ask for advice, my friends or whatever. I would give them wise counsel and say, it does, don't wait around for perfection. Like, just take the action, right? I don't struggle with that now, obviously, but it was a thing years ago, right? And so I've built that muscle of, like, not caring anymore. Who cares? Because what I do know for sure is that as you continue, you take the action, you grow and you evolve, and the things that you need come to you, everything starts to fall into place. But if you still stopping yourself, then you're going to be stuck at where you've been at. Like, you're not going to have no evidence or proof that it could be done because you're not creating the evidence or the proof that it can be done. So we got to give, the divine opportunity to show out for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and get out of our own way. What's next? Okay, this next one is super huge for me. It's like actually super deep. And I wrote here, adapting to someone else's language and state of mind and not speaking from my own lens. I don't even know how to sum that up. For example, let's say I'm talking to one of my family members who's Christian, and I speak a totally different language than, biblical language and whatnot, even though it's part of my roots, religious foundation and whatnot. But I have always had a different language, light language, universal language, galactic language, things like that I have grown into confidently expressing myself. But what I would do is, like, say, for instance, we're in conversation and they, say Christ and God and whatnot. And, usually I'll say divine or ancestors or star family, things like that. I will just adapt to what they say. Like, I will say God or Christ, and kind of just keep my own interpretation, silent, and just kind of flow with what they're saying. It's kind of like I'm molding to their language, whatnot, and not honoring my own, so that it can be more, so that so that they can be comfortable around me, so that I can be more palatable, so that, and also I would withhold information because it may not resonate with them, because they don't speak the same language as me. So what I would do, instead of just being my 100 complete self, I would mold and use the words that they use, because at the end of the day, I have a much more broader understanding and understanding of the world. So it doesn't bother me to do that, because I still love Christ. I still like most of the things that they believe, I believe too. I just have a more expanded vocabulary, is how I see it, and an expanded experience of the world around me. So I don't mind doing that. But when I dug deep into it, it's a way that I self-sabotage from being my 100 complete self and speaking my truth, and not allowing other people to hold the space for my truth, just assuming that they don't want to hear what I have to say, or that they may be uncomfortable with me or whatnot. And I'll just take my losses because I can be the bigger person, but that impacts your subconscious mind, and you harbor ill feelings subconsciously that you don't even know. And it's mostly at myself, which is not good for my inner critic, because my inner critic is already be popping off, right? So if I continue to feed this inner critic with messages that it's not safe to be myself, it's not okay for me to share who I really am and what I think and what I believe and whatnot, but it's okay for other people to do so, that's me sabotaging myself. That's me not honoring myself or valuing myself or respecting myself. So that's a huge one for me. And it's been in my practice to cut that shit out. Like, we not doing that no more. Like, everybody gets to be honored in these conversations. Like, we need everybody to show up to the table, because even in speaking my truth or the language that I speak, it may be very activating for the person, and you never know. And that has played out many times, and I'm just like, wow, just dang. The things that we do you think that to minimize yourself is protecting someone else. And I have that so bad. But yes, you gotta go. We can't do that no more. Number 7 is taking on too much. I mean, we all got that bad. Like, I had to put that to rest a long time ago. Taking on too much because it impacts the way that I need to show up and being prepared. What did I just say? Oh my God, help me. Taking on too much impacts me sticking to my routine and schedule and goals that I have accomplished, that I'm trying to accomplish, right? Like that. I mean, that's self-explanatory. Our brains, we already have too much options and choices going on, so to say yes to everything becomes catastrophic. Like your energy gets drained. You can't show up fully to everything and be your 100 complete energetic self when you have 10 fingers in 10 different things. Like, I don't even know. That was just a weird thing to say. Anyway, yeah, that's self-explanatory. Ooh, this next one is kind of piggybacking off of number 6, controlling how people see me by not saying what I really want to say or masking my words. Yes, holding back, basically. It's kind of like this indirect way of controlling how people view you so you don't get judged and all of that whole cycle of things. So self-sabotaging by blocking my throat chakra basically is crazy. That's wild. And it goes into the people pleasing thing. Me and people pleasing. Nobody has ever benefited from me people pleasing. And definitely not myself. So, yeah, I thought that this one is, I'm over here like reflecting on that. That's a deep one. And I think that you think that you can. The crazy thing is that no matter what you say or don't say, people are always going to form an opinion about you anyway. It's just, so it's pointless. You might as well just be yourself, say what you need to say, as long as it's respectful and does no harm to anybody. Like you might as well, because people going to think and see and do what they want to do with you in their mind. So just be you and express yourself. And I'm talking to, I'm talking to you, but I'm also reminding myself of this too, because like I said, these are all things that I have deep dove into, excavated and transformed within myself. And so just reading this list like takes me on a journey. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Ooh, compartmentalizing myself. Damn. Being one way with one person and different with another to mold to their comfortability with me and control their narrative of me. That's like a summarization of 6, 8, and another one at the top. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've done that so much throughout my life because I didn't feel safe to be my 100 complete self with any given person. Like I've had to split myself. And like and it's so crazy. We're so intelligent, even as kids, right? Like we know who we could be this way with, and then we know who we can't be with this other person. Like I had that freaking down because I study behaviors. I'm very good at studying people and adapting. That's a Virgo thing. Like we're very adaptable, and I believe I've mastered that. It's a way to survive, right? So you don't be rejected from from the tribe. We're tribal beings. And this is how, when we were, back in the day, past lives, ancestors, all of that, we were tribal beings, and we still are. But if there was survival of the fittest, if you were like, you didn't have the skills that you needed, if you were developmentally disabled or whatnot, or you would get left behind from the tribe, or they would reject you and whatnot because you are not adding to the survivability of the tribe, so they kick you out. And I know that I've had past lives like that, or seen in my past lives how they did that. It's literally a soul memory. It's in my bones. I've had dreams around it. So yeah, it's crazy. But I know that in this current day, in this current lifetime, it has played out in many ways of like wanting to people please, be liked, be accepted, not be rejected, fit in. And I'm also very multidimensional. So I do have multiple ways in which I have access to a lot of myself. And I allow, I have so much, I'm an expansive soul, there's so many different parts to me and whatnot, but I never fully accepted them all publicly with people. And I've never allowed myself to be in my fullest expression publicly and with people, that I thought were friends and things like that, so I could be this one way with one person, and then I could mold to be the other way, because all of them were me. I was never faking anything. I'd never faked. What I've learned is damn, this is how I knew that I was multidimensional. I'm like, damn girl, you got a lot of shit going on with you. You got a lot of things. You got a lot of faces, and it's so me showing up in different relationships in different ways worked for me, because it helped me to have community. I felt safe to just be in this dynamic like this and in that dynamic like that, but then I started to crave to be my full complete self with a group of people, with somebody who I could just be my all with, my darkest, my lightest, all of that, and as I started to do my healing work, things started manifesting, and now I got great people in my life, and I don't have to do that. But back before I started to healing, this was a way that I sabotaged myself, because again, I'm sending that messaging to myself that it's not okay to be me. I am not okay. I am not a lovable person. Well, I guess lovable is pretty extreme, because I do feel like I've known that I'm a lovable and likable person, but I guess only certain parts of me are lovable and likable. That's what it is. Not all of me is lovable and likable. So I had to split myself so that I could be palatable for people. And that's not good. We ain't doing that no more. Okay. And if you do that, stop it right now. Because we don't benefit people when we do that. Because we need to find more people who are like us. And the only way to do that is to be your 100 complete free self, so that you can attract who you need to attract. Okay, that was longer than what needed to be, but let's go on. Where are we at? Oh, I think I already said this. Oh, I swear I said this. But living in the past or future and needing to stay in the present is a way that I self-sabotage. And I touched on living in the past, for sure, as it pertains to relationships and whatnot. But, the past creates fear and the future creates anxiety, is what they say. And yeah, I know, there's so many stories around living in the future and how that has sabotaged me, and even in my relationship how it's come around. But luckily, I have a loving partner who I'm able to communicate and work through things with beautifully. And when I call myself out, it's held in a beautiful way, and we get through it. But I can see, if I wasn't with this person, how, if somebody with been being with somebody else, how it can cause some crazy stuff, can be crazy. But being present, I really worked intentionally on being present, because all we have is the present, right? And I mean, we can dream and be in the future in that way. And in the past, we can work through past things and revisit the past, when we reflect and do our work. But living in those two spaces is the key word. Living in those spaces. That's what gets you messed up. And it sabotages what you, in so many different ways. I'm trying to think quickly, but I can't. Like how, but it messes you up. Because you could be missing out on things that are right in front of you. For one, you can't hear clearly when you're in the past or the future either. You can't hear clearly if you live in those two states. And oh my gosh, now relationships, people in my, not relationships, but people in my life who I know that live in the past or future, how toxic they are as a person. And how it impacts people around them. Yeah. And I don't want to be that person. So I've had to check myself and really be like, girl, whatever we got to do, we got to stay focused and stay in the now. Because even if you miss out on gratitude too, and appreciation when you're not in the present. You miss all the opportunities that are right in front of you. And opportunities come in small packages too. Oh, there's so much beauty in the present. I could go on and on. Anyway, we're talking about self-sabotage, but you get what I'm saying. Like, don't sabotage your opportunity to receive the beauty and gloriousness of the things that are right in front of you. And that happens when you are in the past, living in the past or future. So yeah. And the last one that I have here is over-promising. Damn. The crazy thing is this is a new one for me that I haven't fully worked through yet, because I still do that. I still overpromise. And so I haven't gotten the clarity around where that comes from. But it's definitely a way I self-sabotage, because let's say, recently this actually happened because, I'm hosting this challenge and detox for my family. There was a lot of great incentives and perks that were part of it. But then I had this idea come along mid detox of gifting them this thing at the end. But I didn't have the capacity to do that thing. So instead of me just keeping it to myself and reveling in it, and seeing if that's something that I really should do at this point in time, or that I have the capacity to do, I didn't do that. Instead, I got excited and shared like, I have I have something for y'all at the end of this detox. Do you think that I did it? No. And then I feel bad because I said I was going to do this thing and I didn't do it. That's self-sabotaging right there. And another means to start talking crazy and bad to myself, right? Like, you didn't do this. Oh, why did you say this? See, you always do it. Like, girl, we didn't got time for that either. Like, so from that situation that's what brought up the over-promising. And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, I actually do that a lot. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. And it may be tied to people pleasing too. If I'm being real, I'm going to have to sit with that for a minute. Yeah. But, like just over giving, over. And I don't got two pennies to rub together, like giving when you don't have the energy capacity, the financial capacity, and the physical capacity even to show up. That's a huge way I sabotage myself. And then the guilt comes in because you didn't show up like you said you was going to show up, or you thinking about who's thinking like, oh my God, who's thinking negatively about you, or because you didn't do the thing you said you was going to do. It's just crazy, Anyway, yeah. So we've reached the end of the video, and I want to know if y'all seen yourself in any of those ways that I self-sabotage, if you have moved through any of those or worked through, healed any of those ways of sabotaging yourself, if you're still struggling or challenged with any of those ways, or if there are any ways that I didn't list that you can share in the comments below of how you self-sabotage, because I'm sure there's about 20 more ways that I am still not even aware of. But as I'm going along in my journey, I'm going to continue to add to my list if there are, just to hold myself accountable and things like that. And just continuously be acknowledged, that these are the things that I struggle with mentally, and continue to just move through them. And now that I have the awareness of them, I have been really intentional about, getting out of my own way so that it doesn't block me from my goals and what I need to accomplish. And I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm actually proud of myself, y'all. Really, really proud of myself. These are some crazy deep things to untangle by yourself, and I've really been doing my thing. Now, this over-promising thing is something that I'm still working on, and going to check back in with y'all about that. So yeah, let me know how you feel about this video, your thoughts, comments, love, all the things. Put them in the comments below, and I will see y'all soon. Okay, love and blessings.